Tufan, thank you so much for joining us here at Bloomberg. Now, you've transformed really the business, Rolls-Royce, since you took over. At the time, you were talking about joining a burning platform. Where is Rolls-Royce now?
Yeah, I mean, what we were trying to do, Francine, is really create a company which is actually competitive, resilient, growing, and high-performing company. And frankly, Rolls-Royce has never been any of that. So that was actually our vision. So if you actually come to our progress, I would say we really, in a very difficult supply chain environment, we made a great progress in spite of that. And we expanded earnings and cash potential of the business significantly. And it didn't come from one division. It came from all divisions. So step change in all divisions. In fact, in the first year, our results were best on record. Now, this year we said, we obviously first half results, we upgraded our guidance for the year. When we deliver this year's results, we are gonna, when we set the midterm targets, I call it strategic goals, but midterm targets, people thought they were really ambitious. Now, in 2 years, when we deliver this year's results, we are going to achieve on profit more than 75% of the performance improvement, and on cash, more than 65%. So we are actually accelerating the transformation of the business.
Tufan, and your share price was the best performing share price on the FTSE last year. It's done quite well this year as well. Can you sustain that, or are you going too quickly?
No, I mean, here's what I think about share price. I don't actually look at share price. What we need to do is we have a very, very clear agenda. Sort of, we need to implement that really well. And in fact, transformations, this is my third transformation. I actually have 4 sort of pillars in every transformation that enables it. Then actually you build on it, right? So effectively, they are put the mirror up with a full assessment of the business. Second, very clear strategy, granular, so that it becomes alignment, performance management, and engagement tool. And good performance culture, because this is a transformation, right? You change everything about it. And you do all those 3 at high pace, intensity, and with rigor. So that actually not only sustains, it excels it.
So what will you focus on in the next 6 months? Again, there's a lot going on in terms of supply chains, but what will you focus on to get the job done?
So I talk about granular strategy. Benefit of that, really, we don't have sort of lots of things. We have 17 strategic initiatives. We are executing. That's what it is. And next 6 months will be about that as well. We can talk about beyond that outlook, but next 6 months, execute that. And it is going to deliver. Frankly, what transformation does, you have a view what you can achieve. When you transform the business, now you can do things that you couldn't do before. That opens up even more opportunities. And that is the point we are in right now.
So Tufan, are there areas where you can find even more efficiency, or is the next year really just achieving operationally what you've already set out?
I mean, it is delivering the strategic initiatives, but let me give you some of the things we are implementing, but benefits are not there that will come next year onwards. Like, all our products, we are investing £1 billion to make all our products competitively advantaged. So that, we didn't actually benefit from that yet. And we said in our strategy, we will improve, we call it time on wing, i.e. sort of engines on wing, how long they are on wing, which is very important. We are going to improve that 40%, we said. That's enormous for the business. And we didn't yet benefit from that. So those things will come. We are investing in it, but we didn't benefit it. Next couple of years we will. all our contract renegotiations, new contracts are coming with better profitability. It is actually changing the mix of contract portfolio. That is still to come as well. So I'm just giving a couple of examples. But one example from data sort of center business, our power systems have around 25% in data center. Given the AI in the world, I'm sure you know that. So there is a phenomenal growth there. It's double-digit growth that we are capturing.
But so Tufan, if you look at, I mean, Rolls-Royce really expands for, there's commercial aviation with the engines, there's defense, there's everything else in between. Where do you see the big pillars of growth? What will grow in terms of units more than others in the next 2-3 years as we go through these massive transformations?
That's great question, Francine. I think so far, as I said, all of them actually grew. From now on, I think civil aerospace, we still have more performance improvement to do, and the market is growing, and we are growing more than the market. For example, this year deliveries, I'm talking about wide body market, this year deliveries, our market share is 61%. And our installed engine market share is only 35%. So that tells you we are actually growing. So civil aerospace, we fixed the business model, now the growth is coming. So it is profitable growth. Second area, power systems, data center growth. Again, we fixed the business model. I used to say 1 million times 0 is 0, because our margin was 0 in power systems. We made 0 money. Now it is very profitable business. We are growing. But then these are immediate growth areas. Defense will grow. We actually have great wins. That growth will come from 28 onwards. Then we have other things we are working on. Narrow body. Yep. We want to enter narrow body. SMRs. I think SMRs and microreactors very interesting. The world doesn't recognize, Francine, but Rolls-Royce nuclear capability is unique in the world. There is no other private company with this kind of nuclear capability. It's all civil nuclear, I may add, by the way. It's propulsion, and that's our intent. But that's a very unique. So that makes us a natural leader in SMRs, microreactors, and so on.
But I mean, you've also had concerns, right? For example, so BA and Trent 1000 operators have gone for the GE engine. So is there anything that you can do to fight back on that?
Absolutely. So of course we have concerns, otherwise sort of life would be really boring. But I think, so that is effectively what's going on with Trent 1000. Let's talk about that. I think Trent 1000 is a very good engine. And people actually confuse reliability versus durability. Very reliable engine. It has been flying 19 million hours since it was actually in the market. The problem has been the durability. I talk about time on wing, how long it has been on the wing versus the competitor product. What we are doing, we have been doing as part of this 1 billion project, actually get that time on wing to really competitive level. And this year, we have 2 upgrades. This year, we are making 1 upgrade. It is going to be in the market in coming months. Next year, another one. By the end of next year, we have a very competitive product. And that is, frankly, then we are going to push that product because it is a very good product. But durability has been the issue. I
mean, do you have any idea of how many orders that will generate, or is it just too soon to?
It is too soon, but obviously we are optimistic because it is going to be a very good engine, really.
Tufan, talk to me a little bit about, when you look at geopolitics, there's a lot of concern, a lot of question marks about tariffs, trade wars, and that impacts supply chains. Supply chains have already been extremely tough in your industry. Do they get worse from here?
So I think after COVID, all the supply chains have been really stressed. But because I can see multiple, because our power systems, different supply chain, it already stabilized. Aerospace had this V shape because of a big sort of capacity disappeared, had to disappear because of COVID, because that industry was impacted by that. Now it is coming back, and it is coming back very fast. And if you are a supply chain company, I'm talking about smaller companies, you are effectively you are chasing a moving target. You are not chasing a steady target. So that is the issue in aerospace supply chain. You talk about tariffs. I hope they are not going to impact aerospace supply chain, but obviously they may impact other things, frankly. And our view always is a free market makes win-win outcomes. So I think we will see where that goes, but I would like to think that's not going to impact us. But one thing I want to make is we are effectively, in many dimensions, American company. So let me give you some dimensions. We have 6,000 employees in the US. We actually support 52,000 employees in supply chain. You talk about supply chain. Our GDP contribution, $10 billion, and growing, because we are growing with that. It is actually growing. And we power some of the most vital military and civil aircraft in the US. And our coming programs that we won, like this long-range sort of attack aircraft, Flora with Bell, and also re-engineering B-52. That shows you, actually, we are seen and trusted as an American company. And they are vital programs for the US as well.
What do you think a Trump administration means for your industry, be it transport, commercial, or defense?
I mean, reality is, I think if we start with defense, given you talk about geopolitics in the world, and defense, obviously, spending has been going up in the world already. If you look at actually some of the highest sort of defense spending in the world, so relative to the history. So that trend may continue. But one thing I'm going to say, I already said we are not a weapon company. Sometimes people confuse, are you benefiting from this? Actually, our defense sort of segment doesn't benefit from that because we are a propulsion company. Our growth is enormous, regardless of current geopolitics, because of the wins I talk about. Right?
But there seems to be a new phase in Ukraine, right, in the war, and that also implicates, I guess, possible extra sanctions on Russia. I mean, Russia is one of the biggest titanium producers, which you need to almost build everything. I mean, is that even are there going to be more bottlenecks with titanium?
There are already bottlenecks. Some of the supply chain issues, raw materials, actually includes titanium. But we have been actually transitioning to alternative source already. And that's what we have been doing last couple of years.
Tufan, you have been in the job for about almost 2 years, yes. Right? We're just shy of 2 years anniversary. There's a new chief executive at Boeing. Boeing has had a very difficult time in the last couple of years. Have you met with him? Did you share any advice as he starts this new job and this new hurdle?
Definitely I met him because Boeing is a very important customer, but also very important industry player. So we had a good conversation about Rolls-Royce experience as well, of course. I don't want to go into the details, but my wish is I hope they are going to recover very quickly, although there are some challenges, because really aerospace industry needs strong Boeing. I really mean it, by the way. So I think hopefully after now that strike is over, they can actually move to the recovery, and I hope it is a fast recovery.
How quickly do you think they'll move? And did you share, I mean, do you have any advice for Boeing right now?
I mean, we obviously had private conversation, but these things takes, some people are saying this year Boeing will recover. These things take a couple of years at least. So, because you need to look at the culture, you need to look at how the company is run. I mean, we change everything on Rolls-Royce. I always say, people always look at what. They will never understand what we are doing and how we are delivering results until they understand how. Because how includes everything. The culture, it is how you run the company, how you run the performance management, lots of things. So therefore, frankly, they will do some of that, I'm sure.
Rolls-Royce is a UK-listed company. We have a new set of rules in terms of listings. We have a new government. I mean, have they, you know, what would you ask of the government right now? Have they been helpful enough? Is there regulation that needs to change? Energy policy? What would you do differently?
I mean, I think they came up with 8 sectors under industrial strategy. It is good. But I would say, sort of, I've seen lots of, even if they are developed like good strategies, lots of companies struggle to implement their strategy. I think the issue will be on the implementation, really. Can you actually cut the red tape? Can you accelerate the things? And some of the things, frankly, we are still experiencing needs accelerating, like SMR process, for example. It has been delayed. There is no excuse for that to be delayed. It needs to be accelerated. And underneath that, my wish is they focus on competitively advantaged industries. Why am I saying that? Because if you support competitively advantaged industry, that's a sustainable growth machine for you in terms of exports. For example, we have 2 areas we are actually competitively advantaged. UK is competitively advantaged. One is gas turbines. So I'll tell you, there are only 2 countries in the world and 3 companies in the world can do what we do. And we are one of them, by the way.
The government understands?
That's the point. Under industrial strategy, I would argue aerospace and nuclear needs to be subsectors. And nuclear, I told you, we have, and UK has, unique capability. There is no single private company in the world with that capability. We can be and should be in SMRs, like small modular reactors, market leaders in the world, right? Because you have the capability, we can actually move first mover advantage, create supply chain in the country. But for that to happen, GBM process needs to accelerate significantly. Current timeline doesn't work at all.
Do you think that the government understands that?
I hope so. And that needs to happen. So you ask what needs to happen. So yes, some red tape needs to go. Processes needs to accelerate. Then, frankly, that's my point on implementation of industrial strategy. Because these things actually, I'm sure they will come up with a great industrial strategy. I'm actually less worried about that. Implementation, I always worry about.
Tufan, there's a number of high-profile, very profitable companies that have talked about, you know, thinking about listing elsewhere. Has this ever come up?
I mean, so far we haven't considered. I know there is a debate. Is FTSE sort of undervalued, overvalued? I mean, I don't have conclusive comments on that, but I have some view. Sort of, yes, if you actually look at the data, after Brexit, discount FTSE versus world index increase. That's factual, right? And So that may be one factor. Second factor is when you look at the profitability of the companies, that is a factor. In fact, our experience shows, frankly, if you deliver well, I think investors, because we have lots of US investors investing in us. In fact, we have more US than UK at this point, frankly. So that's another factor out there. I think what government needs to do, the problem with FTSE is there are not many IPOs, new companies coming in, and some companies are leaving. How do you actually attract them? With sort of, if you invest in infrastructure, cut the red tape and so on, then companies will be more inclined to come here.